Tonight, on WTOP 10 Nightly News, a historic manor in New York opens again after major renovations.
And an Oswego family shares the screen with Steve Harvey tonight on a family favorite game show.
Plus, the ground is green after a light dusting of snow, but it won't stay that way for long.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Thomas Caffarella.
And I'm Jacqueline Driggs.
Students in Oswego woke up this morning to snow on the ground for the first time this season.
Although it was not a significant snowfall, the flakes were enough to thinly cover the ground.
Assistant Chief Meteorologist David Rienzo joins us from outside the Marano Campus Center, where the snow has mostly turned to rain. David, how's it looking outside?
Hey, thanks, Tom. It fortunately has died down. The rain has for everyone outside, but that snow yesterday still was fun. I even saw a couple snowmen outside, which is exciting. Looking forward in the week, though, we can expect to see a lot of lake effect, which should produce snow, rain, and strong winds. So very strong winter storm coming to Oswego, with even the chance of some snow on Thanksgiving. All that and more in my full forecast. But first, back to the desk.
Thanks, David. A faculty member from SUNY Oswego, Roberta Jurado, is among 9 others selected for the State University of New York's 2023 Hispanic Leadership Institute class. The class is a rigorous 6-month experience for SUNY leaders of the Hispanic descent. It allows those chosen to attend special training sessions and webinars and engage with national and statewide Hispanic leaders. Congratulations, Roberta.
Tonight, a local family from Oswego will compete on the popular TV game show Family Feud. One member of the family, Sean, was a longtime firefighter for Oswego and is known by many in the community for his contributions. Best of luck to Sean and the rest of the O'Gorman family.
A potential solar farm is creating conflicts in the town of Minetto. A town board meeting was held this week to discuss Cipriani Energy Group's plan to build a solar farm beside the residential areas. The Albany-based company wants to install a 4.5 megawatt solar farm with a 25-year lifespan. The company is looking to build the solar farm in a vacant forest beside a residential street. Many residents say they are unhappy with this plan and attended the meeting to voice their concerns.
COVID-19 cases in Oswego County are continuing to trend downwards. That's according to the New York State Department of Health. Oswego's cases continue to decline this week, with only 111 positive cases reported. The department also reported another COVID-19 related death within Oswego County for this week. The health department urges residents to report any positive at-home test results and exposures to its online portal.
A young girl is safe tonight 2 hours after she was reported missing on Monday night in Oswego County. At 10:07 p.m., police were called in the village of Cleveland to begin the search for the 6-year-old girl. A helicopter was used to aid law enforcement alongside rescue personnel. A state police spokesperson says a neighbor found the child unharmed and in good health.
2 are dead and 1 is wounded after a domestic dispute led to a confrontation in a Rochester home. An off-duty police officer shot 2 women, killing 1, who was pronounced dead at the scene, and wounding another. The officer then turned the gun on herself and died from the gunshot wound in the hospital later that night. The lone survivor is recovering in the hospital.
Questions about the death of a 2-year-old Geneva boy and his father are now solved. According to law enforcement officials, in February, deputies were called to perform a welfare check on a 2-year-old boy and his father, after both were not seen for a week. Earlier this week, deputies say the father's cause of death is natural causes due to cardiovascular disease, and they later announced the 2-year-old's cause of death is starvation. Deputies say that investigations into the deaths are now closed.
Governor Kathy Hochul announces the reopening of Phillips Manor Hall in Yonkers. The $20 million renovation ensures preservation of the manor, while adding quality of life updates and making it more accessible to multilingual visitors. The amount of visitors is expected to double after the renovations.
And coming up later tonight, an update on the UVA murder suspect.
And find out the latest on the missile that struck Poland.
I think you could build a house here with how many bricks are being laid in this game.
That is a rapid nosedive, and it is at the point of no return, guys.
Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Welcome back to Major Discussions.
I'm meteorologist Dave Randall, and I'm not wearing a mic. I apologize, everyone. Now, this surface mass may look like a lot, but all Oswego needs to worry about is this trough boundary moving across the Great Lake, which should push winds, and that is what's going to give us our lake effect snow. Into tonight, speaking of lake effect, snow, lake effect thunder. Cold temperatures for all of tonight with some snow throughout the night. Some rain in the early tonight, around 10 p.m. That's what you're seeing right now. It's what I was outside in. Early tomorrow morning, you can expect to see some lake effect thunder. So if your classes are canceled and you turn off your alarm, chances are you might be woken up by some lake effect thunder too. Speaking of lake effect, if you don't know what it is, here's just a brief overview of it. It occurs when we have this warm water over the lake and some cold temperatures over the land. This warm water pushes moisture up, and cold air from that trough boundary will move across the lake the long way and produce these massive clouds. These clouds will push all the way over the land and dump down right around Oswego and the Tug Hill Plateaus. This is when you see all that snow. Lovely to play in. Bit cold to be outside in. Looking at tomorrow, 38 degrees, bit chilly, a lot of rain and snow showers throughout the day, but most of all, very windy, around 13 to 21 miles per hour with 34 mile per hour gusts. So if you're outside going to class, tomorrow might be when Oswego wants to put in those ropes between the buildings to get to classes. Threat level, like I said, for tomorrow, snow, wind, and thunder. Thunder, like I said, is really just for tomorrow morning, but it's a threat nonetheless. There's only a slight chance, though. Wind, however, is your biggest threat. It might push you around, especially on the snowy grounds. If you're leaving for Thanksgiving tomorrow, your best bet is not in the morning at all. You want to get going probably around the afternoon, around 4 o'clock. That's when you're just seeing rain and some light wind. For the 7 days, snow, 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 snow. Monday, snow. Friday, however, you might see some sun peeking out in the afternoon, but for most of the week, it's just snow. That's my full forecast. Back to the desk.
Thank you very much, David. The Republican Party will now control the U.S. House of Representatives. The party reached 218 seats needed to take the majority earlier this evening. With a House majority, the GOP is expected to make it difficult for the House of Democrats to carry out Biden's agenda.
The result comes over a week after Election Day on November 8th as vote counting continues. Democrats remain the majority party in the Senate.
A student is charged with killing 3 University of Virginia football players and injuring 2 others. Was denied bond at a hearing Wednesday. Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. is accused of shooting his fellow students after a field trip Sunday. He faces 3 counts of second-degree murder with 2 counts of malicious wounding. Jones remains in jail. His status hearing is set for December.
A new study is showing an increase in racism against Indigenous and Black children over the past few years. The study looks at reports made by parents detailing their children's experiences with racism between 2016 and 2020. Researchers found reported incidents rose by nearly 3%. One of the doctors involved in the study says this early exposure can have long-term consequences on health.
A missile that caused an explosion in Poland on Tuesday likely originated from Ukraine, according to initial assessments by the U.S., but Polish and NATO leaders say the blast appears to be an accident. Karen Kafa is in Washington with the latest.
World leaders calling for calm as investigations into the explosion that killed 2 people in eastern Poland near the Ukrainian border Tuesday get underway.
We have no indication that this was the result of a deliberate attack.
Initial assessments by the U.S. indicate the Russian-made missile likely originated in Ukraine, according to 2 officials. The Poland blast came amid an intense barrage of Russian air attacks across Ukraine, following Ukraine's recent battlefield success. A U.S. official told CNN the Ukrainian military said it attempted to intercept a Russian missile near that location in the same time frame, but it's unclear if that missile was the one that struck Poland. The Polish president said the blast was likely an accident, and NATO Secretary General added Ukraine is not at fault.
Russia bears ultimate responsibility as it continues its legal war against Ukraine.
The missile stoked fear of a Russian attack on NATO member Poland, anxiety that has momentarily assuaged, but underscores the situation's gravity.
The longer this war goes on, we will continue to be exposed to risks like this.
NATO allies resolving to bring an end to Russia's war.
Neither sheer force nor sham annexation attempts can defeat the determination of the Ukrainian people to live in a free and sovereign country.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Family members of those arrested in El Salvador marched against the 8th extension of the state of exception. Protesters say their detained loved ones do not belong to any gangs. This policy has been in effect since the end of March and allows authorities to intervene in telecommunications without the authorization of a judge while suspending constitutional rights. The government says more than 57,000 people have been detained since the beginning of the state of exception.
Tennis star Novak Djokovic announced today that his 3-year ban from entering Australia has been overturned. Djokovic was deported prior to the 2022 Australia Open due to entering the country while unvaccinated against COVID-19. He previously won 9 men's single titles at the Australian Open, and he expressed his excitement for his return to the 2023 Australian Open in January. And coming up, turning down the racket may not just be for disgruntled parents, a study shows.
And a trial resulting for new Alzheimer's drug are being released.
Welcome back to Major Discussions.
apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Here's your health and consumer report.
Disappointing results are coming out of an Alzheimer's treatment trial. Still, some Alzheimer experts say the data can provide some new and useful information.
In the fight against Alzheimer's disease, it was a promising new drug, but gantenerumab failed to help people at high risk of memory loss from Alzheimer's or those who were in the early stages of the disease, according to data from clinical trials.
We are disappointed, just like I know that families would be.
Gantenerumab is part of a class of injected drugs designed to remove sticky protein pieces called beta amyloid from the brain. A buildup of those pieces is a hallmark of Alzheimer's disease. The drug company says this particular drug appeared to remove less of the protein pieces than expected. Clinical trials showed it didn't significantly improve brain function and memory. The company says based on these results, all studies with this drug will be stopped.
I think there is a silver lining. The drug didn't meet its primary endpoint, and that is disappointing, but it did actually help us understand more about this particular strategy.
And there's still hope for that beta amyloid removal strategy. Maria Carrillo with the Alzheimer's Association says this drug just didn't remove enough to get significant benefit in patients. Right now, there are other beta amyloid reducing drugs being tested.
This is an incredibly exciting time for this particular strategy, but there are so many other strategies coming up right behind it.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The United States Food and Drug Administration approved another drug for the Alzheimer treatment this past summer. The drug is named Aldahelm, but it's not as receiving as much support from independent advisors as previously expected.
A new study in the journal BMJ Global Health shows over 1 billion young people may be at risk for suffering from early hearing loss. Researchers analyzed articles that looked into the impact of loud sound going into people's ears while using headphones or in places such as clubs and entertainment venues. The study estimated that 1.35 billion people ages 12 to 34 years engage in unsafe listening practices.
New data from the CDC shows drug overdose deaths fell for 3 months in a row. About 2,600 fewer people died from an overdose between March and June. Through the trend looks promising, drug deaths are still 50% higher than they were 2 years ago, but most of the deaths are caused by synthetic opioids such as fentanyl, and 1/3 of the deaths are caused by psychostimulants like methamphetamine.
Record inflation is deeply impacting Americans' wallets, but signs of peaking are showing ahead of the holiday season. Isabel Rosales has more.
Is inflation slowing down in the U.S.? One retail analyst says.
Absolutely. So starting to see that inflation number come down in the most recent report, and we at Morning Consult are seeing indicators that inflation is continuing to drop based on some of the consumer behaviors relevant to inflation.
U.S. retail sales were up a little over 1% from September to October. Despite this, Thanksgiving dinner will cost a whopping 20% more this year because of inflation. And Black Friday deals may not be how you remember them from years past.
I'm actually expecting softer sales on Black Friday this year because I don't know if you've been online shopping lately, but it's already Black Friday all over e-commerce right now. I've been seeing Black Friday language in promotions since October. So we sort of have to ask, what is Black Friday anymore anyway?
Stocks opened lower Wednesday after Target sent out a warning of a weak holiday season when its profits plunged 52% in the third quarter. Disney is now planning on hiking theme park ticket prices for a second time this year. and is reportedly freezing hiring and cutting jobs after missing Wall Street estimates for quarterly earnings. And Amazon has begun layoffs after multiple reports the e-commerce giant planned to cut around 10,000 employees this week.
Though inflation has shown signs of slowing down, food and gas prices still remain high for consumers.
Sam's Club is now the top dog when it comes to a hot dog and soda combo. When prices for everything seemed to be on the rise, the company decided to cut back the price to an enticing $1.38. This move is targeted to undercut Costco's famous $1.50 soda and a hot dog. The 12-cent difference, frankly, cannot be beat.
WTOP 10's Ryan Skinner joins us in the studio tonight to talk all things Laker and pro sports.
Ryan, what do you have for us tonight?
Coming up, the men's basketball team brings home a win. The Kings dominate the Nets, the Knicks pull out a win, and more after the break.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
I guess I have really been looking for love in this dating app. Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Jill told me it was Kitty from Glee. Yeah, what is it?
Al Roker.
Welcome back to WTOP 10. I'm Ryan Skinner with your sports report. The Oswego State men's basketball team traveled to Potsdam to play the Clarkson Golden Knights. The Oswego State Lakers started off fast with a 14-2 lead, with Clarkson turning the ball over 3 times in just 3 minutes. The Lakers went 7 for 10 and 3-pointers in the first half and went into half up by 5. The Lakers dominated the paint and ended up scoring 58 of their 98 points in the paint. They would end up going up by 25 points and win the game 94-69. Going forward, they play Nazareth College in Rochester on Tuesday. Over to women's basketball, the Wells College women's basketball team traveled to Oswego to play against the Oswego State Lakers. The Lakers are coming off 3 straight wins to start the season and are hoping to keep this momentum going tonight. The game started at 7, and the Lakers are hoping to come through with a win to make their 4th on the season. Carly Leo has been off to a very strong start this season, making 14 three-pointers across the first 3 games. Carly and the rest of the Lakers are hoping to make it 4 straight wins tonight to continue their strong season. The New York Knicks managed to pull out a win last night when they faced off against the Utah Jazz. Jalen Brunson led the way for the Knicks as he put up 25 points and 8 assists as the Knicks would go on to win the game with a final score of 118-111. The Knicks were down late in the third, but they would go on a 24-6 run to erase the deficit and come away with the win. The Knicks face the Denver Nuggets tonight at 10, tonight on MSG. The FIFA World Cup is starting up on Sunday, and the United States look to have the most exciting array of players that they ever had going into it. Will Greg Berhalter be able to properly manage this young, exuberant roster? Will France win it again after winning in 2018? Will Brazil be able to win it all? Or will another country emerge victorious? The Qatar World Cup kicks off on Sunday with Qatar playing against Ecuador at 11 on Fox Sports. For the United States, our first game will be on Monday at 2 against Wales, so be sure to tune in. Last night, the Brooklyn Nets played against the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings would absolutely ball out in this game and ended up putting up 153 total points. Brooklyn was trailing 30-36 at the end of the first quarter. And up next, you're going to see Terrence Davis sparking a big second quarter run. There's Kevin Huerter right there. He ended up with 19 points on the game. He kept lighting it up from the three-point arc, made 3 after 3 after 3. Up next, you're going to see Terrence Davis, coming off the bench, putting up 31 points in this game. Absolutely remarkable, especially for a player coming off the bench. I mean, an absolute array of three-pointers there you're going to see from him. An absolute show he put on. Really good performance by him. Really good performance by the Sacramento Kings in general. You can see him making shots with coverage, no coverage, and double coverage right there. The Sacramento Kings would end up putting up more points than they have in 30 years.
Wow, that's fantastic to hear. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. Coming up tonight, our final story of the night.
Today's a holiday. Find out which one after the break.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
For our final story tonight, we bring you news of a big holiday, not Thanksgiving or Christmas, but it is National Fast Food Day.
If you're health conscious, you may be in the habit of avoiding fast food, but this is a good excuse for a cheat day.
It's observed every year on November 16th. Whether you prefer grilled, fried, broiled,
or dine-in, carry-out, drive-through, this is your chance to indulge.
So what's your favorite fast food chain? What are we thinking?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I like Subway.
Subway? Okay.
Yeah, I like Chick-fil-A. Personally, they got the waffle fries, they got chicken tenders, popcorn chicken, they got it all.
Nice.
I will say I have been addicted to the new Popeyes across town. I've been there a couple times already.
Oh, that does sound really good.
Yeah. I'm not sure what mine would be. I think Subway's pretty good.
I like Subway. Yeah. So anyway, that's our report for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for the interview show.
Thank you for watching. Have a great night, everyone.